It's now 8 minutes after 8, time for us to look at hot topics. And joining me on set today, we have the lovely Boyo. Karibu, and good to have you. You're looking fabulous. Looking very elegant.
Thank you.
Love the shoe. You're definitely unbowed, I must say.
Boyo unbowed.
Boyo unbowed. Absolutely. And Stevens Mwendo as well. Good to have you.
Pleasure,
Pulse
bro.
editor. You're also looking very sharp today.
I try like you do, man. I learn a lot from you.
You're even making me feel strange that I don't have a tie.
And she was telling me this is actually made by an African designer.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she's
It's
a friend of ours.
wearable art.
Wearable art.
Yes.
And what is this netty thing called? I mean,
That's part of the art.
No, I mean,
it has a name.
No, as in, yeah, I'm sure it has a name, because for me, I can only just see netty. But it looks very nice, by the way. I'm not trying to, downplay it. And I can see Meg there, our makeup artist, laughing. But does it have a name?
No, the name is wearable art. Because, it has an art piece which was actually painted on it.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So it's a wearable art.
Wearable art. I shall be looking for some wearable art very soon. All right, and let's now move on to what's been happening this weekend. Of course, what has made the headlines was a rather sad incident, but Kenya has come out strong. Yes. Kenya has come out unbowed. Kenya has come out victorious, and this was the terrorist attack. And of course, Stevens, I know you were following what was going on, but maybe just your comments on that.
It's a sad story again. We got under attack on another Black Tuesday, 15th of January. We know the history of our January 15th. But again, I would say, even with all that, I think we came out as a victorious nation. We came out united. We came out with a force that can be recognized worldwide. I have been seeing headlines all the way from the Mirror and international publications. Try to say, yes, we even had our people there and try to praise their own and even single them out like, these are the guys who made this happen. But we know that our men did a great job to save our people.
And of course,
700 people saved from a building. That must be victory.
Yeah,
because you can see what these guys were coming for was beyond 700 people. And these people are now rescued, they're safe, we have a victory story.
And not just that, we also have pictures of the terrorists who were neutralized, to use the military term. Basically, they were killed. But also, there was the New York Times that this time put Kenyans on Twitter back on their keyboards. It's been a while since KOT, came out with guns blazing against another country.
It really trended with, I think the tweets were over 20,000 tweets about hashtag someone tell New York Times. And they needed to be told, because how many times have they reported on the London concert shooting, the Belgium shootings, the US school shootings, but they never showed the guys who passed away. So what was so different with us Kenyans?
Why did they have to show?
Why did they have to show? Were there many footage they can use? Yes, use the forces who were helping guys, the guys who have been rescued. There were many other angles that you can tell a story that is so graphic and make it graphic, but not again not so graphic and also not so demeaning to the people of that country.
I mean, there was quite a number of tweets, and I even remember somebody saying, can somebody tell them that we respect our dead? We're not like them who, whatever. But of course, that should be a lesson learned. But again, also to highlight that our media also did a stellar job. Given that this time compared to Westgate, there was I guess Westgate being the first time of that magnitude, having a terrorist attack of that magnitude after a long time, there were certain things that maybe were left loose. But this time, it seemed everything was covered, from the way the communication was done from the security agencies, from Dr. Matiang'i himself, from the IG, to the media. Stephen?
Yes, and I just take it out from even why it started. When media got alert about this smoke that's coming from the building, I remember that around 3 p.m. In the office, people are asking what's going on there, and everybody's glued on TV. And before you know it, our very own are there with cameras, are there with mics, and everything is being reported as it happens. I was so impressed to see our very own, I just remember one of our female photographers right on the front line, taking photos and just bringing the news as it should be. We've been accused of being timid and not giving people reports as they are. We've been accused of borrowing clips, and there's nothing bad with it, from international media. But I think we have grown with time just to know that we can give the world news as it breaks. That was so impressive. Just remember Sophia with the mic somewhere was seated, and somebody was saying, she's there again in front of those guys again. And I think we are called to duty when things like those happen, and that's why you know, and that's how you know you're just a journalist and you're born to do this. Absolutely. But besides that, we've also learned as media houses that sometimes you give too much info, and we want that you give too much info to the enemy. I remember Mohad the other day was just talking about that on TV, was it yesterday? And I think that was also taken care of in terms of don't give so much intelligence information. And I know media had so much information on what was going on there, what was going on outside, and that information was held until the right time. In fact, some of those stories that were happening that time that the media knew are coming out in today's papers, in today's clips. Yes.
All right, Boyo.
Also on social media, you could see the survivors were tweeting on their timeline, but they were told, no, don't give too much detail of where you are. Too much information. And guys were offering their inbox, direct message me, I will relay that, and all that. So again, the attackers could not attack them because they don't know where they're hidden, and they have not relayed the message openly.
And I think another good thing even on social media platform was the fact that at some point people were told don't post images, and they respected that. Because, you know, we are in an age where people really want to be the first one to post something and get likes and all that. But there was that warning that came out, please do not send these images because you're also feeding the terrorists. That's what they want. They want literally this to go public and for everybody to know.
True, and I just remember in East as well, these little groups would just have their messages so tagged, like inbox this guy only and ABCD. And I remember some guys had to follow because, can be said now, these guys were tracking everything that was be said and done through signals and stuff. And I remember one of those victims that was somewhere around 5th floor where guys were being rescued around 4 in the morning, 4:30 to say, we're giving info, but through intelligent ways that this information could not go. And only today you discover some of those guys who are being said to be running up and down, these were robots actually. Doing the work.
Absolutely, getting that info. So technology, and kudos to our security forces, kudos to everyone who took part. There's also, out of that, of course, there was a lot that came out. We also have Kasam, Insiat Kasam, the Asian guy who is
kudos to him.
Kudos to that guy.
He always appears and goes on to save people. He just doesn't chill. It's not about show for him. It's about helping. And yeah, of course, and not just him. There are quite a number of, there's a story that Akisa did yesterday, and we ran it today as well, and it's to do with LFHs, licensed firearm holders, who basically came out, again, sacrificed, and they were out there to stand on the line of fire just to help Kenyans. And you can imagine when you're holed up in there, all you need is just an assuring voice, an assuring somebody who's going to tell you, listen, it's safe to come out now, come out. So kudos to all those guys and, of course, our security forces. But there was also other things that came out of that. And Kenyans, as usual, never lack humor.
How do we lack humor?
And there was the Steve Mbogo challenge. I don't know if you've done yours, Steve.
I am about to do mine. Probably I do mine before the end of this show.
And maybe if there's anybody out there who doesn't know what the Steve Mbogo challenge was, here are just a few clips showing you. Steve Mbogo is, of course, the guy in the blue bulletproof vest there. Well, for starters, we're not quite sure whether he was there really to help the situation, but he certainly seemed very armed and armed to the teeth.
Mike, this is one of the first photos that came out of that place in terms of the guys who are trying to rescue. And like you said, there are so many civilians who are having their personal guns and stuff. But this looked like this guy had come for combat. He was ready to be
ready for combat.
And all that.
But the question is, what I'd like to know, did he move from there? Or
I'm reading something else. He looks like he came to show off. He looks like he came to chill. Because when you come for combat, like Kasim, you go to the line of fire
we should be seeing them in action. Yeah.
They should be in action.
He's in action.
The other guy is on phone. The other guy is on phone. I think it was texting, or maybe they were asking each other something, and then Mbogo is like,
Boyo, he was waiting for his position and for
you don't wait for a position when something is of urgency. You get
maybe he was
into
just
it.
looking at the right place. You know, forces are different. They're not just like twende.
Stevens, are you related to this guy or something? But at the end of the day, what I would have loved to see is even action shots. You know, like shots of, like Insiat Kassam, there's no doubt what he was there to do. And he was not waiting for the cameras to click for you to know what he was there to do. But this one, I'm left thinking, okay, it's a very nice pose. You know, some heavy firearms.
When things get hot, you can see what is holding.
But things were already hot. They could not get any more hotter than that.
Absolutely. was arrested.
Yeah, so anyway, that's a Steve Mbogo challenge. So I'll wait to see yours. Yeah. But talking about challenges, something else that was kind of taken over by this particular incident was the 10-year challenge. Because that had just started trending and there was a lot that was going on.
It is still on, Mike. It's still on. After this, guys held back and stuff. The 10-year challenge is not done. I was watching last night the likes of Lucia Musau and many other guys doing the 10-year challenge. So let's not close it. Let's move with it until next week, Mike.
Is that Calligraph and his 10-year challenge?
It is still.
Man, 10 years is a long, long time. Look at Churchill.
I saw what's the name? Eric Omondi's girlfriend.
Right.
And that's a really 10 years challenge because she was obese and now she's worked out and she's looking really nice.
Yeah, and 10 years definitely is a short time, quote unquote, in terms when you think of 10 years. You don't think it of a long time, but look at the transformation of some of these guys like MC Jesse.
And so, Mike, I think as the 10-year challenge goes on, as you do yours also, I think we take up this next week because like you said, it was a bit of a dull week and stuff. Yeah, and I think there's much more to talk about and even invite guys here to talk about their 10 years moment.
Oh, yes. And, well, I did my 10-year challenge, but, yeah, we'll definitely have that continue. But I'm glad that our graphics guys didn't get a hold of them. But there you go. That's a 10-year challenge.
One guy is that Pulse has more than 15 years challenge to bring out for you. Since we started publishing, everything is installed, so don't think you'll hide behind. We have all that. So yes, as you post, don't just post those good ones because you have crazy ones that we
have some crazy ones that you've kept. All right, but one of the other things that happened over the week was a rather interesting incident. And this was the girl, the Rastafarian girl who was denied admission in a school purely because she has dreads. And for the benefit of anybody who might not have watched this, we're just going to play you a bit of that story that was done. And by the way, I even saw it on BBC, but we'll tackle that after we've seen the story. And here's the story.
After lunch, kuna tisha alikuja kuniita, akaniambia naitwa na deputy principal. Nikaenda kwa ofisi. Deputy principal akaniambia nitoe kitambaa. Now, only the Muslims are allowed to cover their hair. So either ni choose kunyoa ama ni transfer.
All right, and that was a rather unfortunate incident where she was denied. Although now, fast forward, and the education CS, Amina Mohammed, has said that she should be admitted in school. But in this day and age, boy, I was surprised that that still happens.
There's a code of conduct in school and also how a student should look. Like in my daughter's school, there's a certain hairstyle she cannot have. It's either you hold a bun at the back or you have lines. So I think even her, if she had gone to school with that hairstyle,
but can't you hold lines or at least make them neat when they are dreads? I wish Solo was here or Smita.
So Solo send us some
neat, because the thing is,
when you say neat, it sounds like
where you draw the line in terms of, because for her, it's not just a hairstyle. Right. It's a religion. And that now, I think, for me, draws the line. But Stevens, your thoughts on this day and age? I mean, should we really be looking at things like this where, I'm sure there's a way to resolve
I like the way you say this day and age, because back in the day, this hair had to be down.
Oh, yes.
Even like, for the female.
Like down, like nothing. After 3 days, cut it again. You have no time to comb your hair or things like that. But things have changed. And I think the problem is that how we stay with stereotypes on what we think about people who look a particular way. And when you think of dreads and stuff, you think of Rastafarians. Sometimes people were not so respected. It's like a struggling kind of
Actually, at some point, if you had dreads, you are considered to be Mongiki.
Exactly. And I think those days are gone. And like she says, I know we have a code of conduct in schools whereby you're told do this and don't do this. But I think really, if this is a religion, and I believe in this way, like we had the politician, the Somali lady who is a politician now abroad, that I cannot wear my religious outfits and know that. Really, those things should not be existing in time and day like this.
And maybe the message should be, it's not your Rasta that goes to school, it's your brain. It's the brain that is educated, not a Rasta.
All right.
So, yeah.
I leave that to you now. Mike is a Rastafarian. I believe in the movement.
Y'all never know, your blood clot. So anyway, coming back to other stories and religion, because again, this has the way it ties in with how we relate to each other. Because sometimes religion has become, it can be extremist. And I mean, even looking at the terror attack, there's those who would like to think or associate that to Muslims. But we've had Muslims, there was even a video that was doing rounds of a father that lost 2 of his sons. And he was saying, look, these are terrorists. They're not just, actually, my sons are Muslim and they're dead.
Actually, the family was among the first ones to come out because those guys were being shot at the hotel where it all started. And these guys came out and said, yes, we are Muslims. We don't even condone this. Well, when some of us are just going to the streets and thinking you are one of them because you're wearing ABCD, I think in the spirit of unity and in the spirit of sense of we are Kenyans and we are all one people, such stereotypes should really go.
Absolutely, they should.
I see people would go to, say, places where Muslims have high populations like Isli and the ABCD, and you're just thinking, am I safe here? Are they part of us? I think those stereotypes really should go if we have to win this war ourselves.
All right, and again, looking at that extremism, there was also a story that we ran of another extreme where we have a lady who said that she would not take her child to school because education was actually a system of the devil. In case you didn't watch that story, here's the story. Hear it for yourself.
Elimu ya saa hii yenye imeletwa ni elimu ambayo inapeleka watu kuzimu. Na alafu hiyo namba wameleta inaitwa Nemisi. Nemisi hiyo namba dakika ya mwisho kila binadamu atafurahia kweli anasoma. Masomo watafurahia masomo ya ulimwengu. Lakini masomo ya ulimwengu inapeleka watu jehanamu.
Hey, Stevens.
This mother should just be whipped very hard. Kama una school fees, tuambie una school fees.
But you know, religion, they say, is the opium for humanity.
It is, but like you're saying, there are extremes. And the extremes are even coming in terms of these guys of Al-Shabaab and everybody getting brainwashed through such teachings. I mean, really, unless you can put a truth to something. I know religion is very hard sometimes to put truth into something because I have faith in a God I haven't seen. But really some things, like saying ABCD, and you just standing there from, sorry to say, we are all a village that you come from and claim that your kid and your daughter cannot go to school. That's really bizarre.
I think it's the power of brainwashing.
Just because she's coming from a village, I think she lacks exposure. And also, religion in villages have become... Religion is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be spiritual and believing in something bigger than us. It's okay. It's even what's it called? You're even allowed to do it. But when it becomes a cultish kind of religion that you're brainwashed so much, don't go to school, and then
don't go to hospital.
Don't go to hospitals. Don't take vaccinations.
Don't take medicine.
That is when religion is used as a weapon. Which is not should be allowed.
As a society, and we were talking about this earlier on with the team that was here, we seem not to, we shy away from talking about some of these things simply because we feel, because it's a religious thing, then we cannot condemn it, and, you know, we just want to keep our space. We feel like it's almost a bad omen to criticize somebody else's religion, despite the fact that sometimes you can see it's damaging them.
Right. And that's why it's so bad to hide our faces behind religion. Some of those things that you'd see every day, and you say, this is an extreme, like Boyo is saying. I mean, how can somebody tell me the world is ending in a week's time, say bye-bye to your people, sell all you have, and bring the money to me? I mean, you're also dying, for example. So those are extremes that you just want to make people so unable to move with their normal life, then that way you can control their lives. We saw people die at some point when you're told the world is ending and ABCD. You need to fast and pray and get to God's will in 72 days. People die. We've seen somewhere in Uganda where people were forced to take paraffin and be trampled on by a religious leader. We've seen all these things across South Africa. And some of them are even happening where we are. I mean, extremisms like these are whereby somebody uses people's brain for his own good. And I think that itself is not what you do.
But as a society, are we willing to have those uncomfortable conversations? For instance, I've heard of people who call themselves Messiah. They come, people even literally wash the streets with soap. Because they're coming, and I don't know, is that something we're willing to talk about as a society, or is it something that we'll say, you know what, Stevens believes in something that I'm not too sure about, but I will not even go to him and ask him, Stevens, are you aware that this has become extreme?
I think we should poke holes into all these things, especially people who are mature and adults. I was just having this religious talk with friends of ours and said, back in the day, you would be rooted into what a religion says, with basic things that we can all see. And most of those are morals that we all follow, even as a society, and that's how we know that this thing is very sane. If God doesn't like you killing another person, basic rules in the Bible, 10 Commandments, are as plain as they are. But when you start having things whereby your kids are being taken places, the religion they are following has no well-made rules and ABCD, and you start doubting some of those things. Where is my child? Why is it? Why are they going for something that I could not even condone in terms of a moral understanding of what they are doing? Then you should really suspect and question those things. As
absolutely, and as a society, let us come out and call them out. To be honest, because some of our brothers and sisters will perish as we watch. Because I mean, when you get to a point where you say that Nemis is a system of the devil and you'll not take your child to school, that leaves us, wondering whether that you're on the right track. But before we go to the Pulse and the Nairobian, because I want us to look at what's in there, there was also the question of, and I'll take you back now, this is not the 10-year challenge, but do you remember a time when a loaf of bread was such a huge thing to a point where you would not finish it? Now, it has been proved recently that the weight of a loaf of bread is actually under question. It used to be 500 grams. It was changed to 400, but a spot check on loaves recently proved that the bread that you buy is no longer even 400 grams. It's 300 and something. So if of late you finished a whole loaf, it's not your fault. They've actually reduced the size of bread. Stevens, you look amazed. You look surprised.
It takes me back high school, man. Bread was light.
Man, it was light.
Literally.
The unsliced one.
The unsliced one.
Exactly.
Bread was light.
It was 500 grams. And you'd, eat to your fill. Right now, I could finish a loaf alone.
Those guys who went to our high school.
Not even you. Our kids at home are finishing a loaf.
Precisely.
Yes.
So anyway, surprise, Stevens, that next time you go to the shop or supermarket to buy bread, you need a weighing scale there to tell them, look,
even the unsliced one, because that is still what they like in high school, the unsliced bread. And know that each of you get, the canteen place where you buy a half or a full, and then you have to finish that thing very fast before the other guy comes to harass you.
To harass
the phone calls and stuff.
Well, depending on which school you went to. The school I went to, you'd actually buy it and your seniors would come and literally devour the whole loaf. And well, there are some of them I'm still looking for even to this day and age. If I will meet them on the streets, God help me. Because I still hold it against them that they still had my loaf of bread. But there you go. Anyway, let's now look at what we have in the Nairobian and the Pulse, just as a teaser, of course, not letting out everything. But let's start off with the Pulse. Stevens?
Even as I go to the Pulse, we talked about Bruce Odhiambo.
Oh, yes.
The other day.
The funeral service was yesterday.
And the service was yesterday. Actually attended by the who and who in
I
the
saw
showbiz
Sauti Soul were
industry.
performing.
Everybody, almost everybody was there. And we can say, yeah, the team is moving all the way to his home place for the burial. So yes, again, our condolences to the family and all that, even as they go to rest our brother over there.
Bruce, yes.
Yes. The other point was, this week, Mike, we saw the clip of a guest coming to the show, Kush, PMVA award-winning artist. If you go to page 6, we just have a soundbite of what she said on why she got herself a change of mind in terms of, I'm getting saved, I can see the light, and I'm stopping to have or do those things, some of those things I used to do. And Pals just brings you that exclusive on why.
I read this, and I don't know why, it kind of reminded me of Size 8. There's just something similar about her, moving from secular music onto gospel music. But she has, I've seen, she does not like the title gospel artist.
Right. And for a reason. And when she comes, as she comes to the show, she'll be able to explain herself in a deeper way. But she says that because, Mike, there are many artists, and that is worry now. It's starting to come out that even as we sit here, that some of those gospel artists, we call gospel artists, whose songs and whose, quote, I'm not there to judge ways, do not depict what a gospel artist should be. If I'm here to shape the morals, again, of the young people that I am supposed to be shaping, and my ways are different, then how am I a gospel artist? And that's what she's saying, I don't want to be called this. Let people now judge who I am from what I do.
I know the story is in the Pulse, so do get yourself a copy of the Pulse. And those of you who might be wondering, Tracy Kush sounds familiar. Who's that? You got it on the Pulse, and you'll find out. But I also see another interesting story here, Stevens, and maybe you can give us a teaser. Josh
just released his single yesterday. I saw you saw it.
Yes.
And Josh, we're talking about Amos and Josh, another group that had been recorded actually by Bruce Odhiambo on the Journey album that they have. A lot of songs, yes, to be released. But Josh, yes, is out there with a new song and a new move. And he revealed that, yes, I have a wife and I have a kid. Stuff that we may not talk on set here because of basic reasons that we may need to guard for ourselves. So yes, grab a copy of the Pulse and get yourself that full story as Josh talks about himself and the life after this. And the question is, are they broken up with his friend Amos?
Amos, yes.
It's all there.
It would also be interesting to see how... I watched the song, I saw the song, and... we'll have it as Song of the Week one of these days so that we can just go through it and maybe check it out there. But I wonder how he is going to launch out as a solo artist, because we've always seen him as Amos and Josh. So I don't know, Boyo, your thoughts on Josh going solo?
It's good. Why not? If you can do something aside from yourself. Look at Sauti Sol. Bien went out and did some songs with Wendy Kimani and other people. So if you can branch out and do something for yourself, why not? It doesn't say that the group has to die.
Right.
But
he confesses in the story, if I can give that.
And if the group is dead, move on.
He confesses that he's scared. He's a bit scared of the next move. But we know that he's been preparing for this. He has recording stable. I know he's doing signings, and we've even seen him do a collab with somebody. And so really, sometimes, like you say, if he's not moving, Mike, you have a vision as a person. The other person is not moving. Let me move on.
Move on.
And we've seen a lot of that with Punit, where somebody would say, I've taken a different direction. I just do music for fun, when the other person depends on the music to have their life. So why can't I make music if you're not busy with me as a group?
Absolutely.
So, yes.
There's something else that you've also got on the Pulse today, and this is very close to my heart because you've talked about running to the hills this January.
Right.
And you know, rather than your ordinary weekend where you go to the club, drink, eat nyama choma, get active. You know.
That's page 4, and I can see your page 4 of the Pulse. Yes, Gong Hills. I don't know if you've been there.
I've actually not been to Ngong Hills, and I must make a
Mike,
point.
you should go to Gong Hills.
I've been to quite a number of hills and literally climbed them, but Gong Hills, I don't know, I've always thought that from the way I see them, and I could be completely wrong, forgive me for this, but I don't know why they don't look that challenging.
It's a challenge. Look at the details there. That was Leaky, Odera, and the Beauties going to the hills last weekend. And the Pulse team, some members had a chance to join them. And you're talking about 7 hills. And that's the challenge. 7 hills and a lot of activity. If you like zip lining, if you like the hatchers, if you like motorbikes. I know you like motorbikes because I know you like speed.
And all that.
And the basic thing is that we're saying that for 200 shillings, go into the park and enjoy your January without the hassle of thinking, what can I do with my family the all weekend, and we don't have so much to spend. And that is the point, that you can go to this place, have yourself this union with your colleagues, friends, and all that, family, and have yourself a good time.
All right.
We don't have all that money to spend, splash, in January. And this is a plan. That's how
And it's also a good plot,
Right.
especially because January is also the month where many people have a goal and a desire to gain health.
Right.
Lose a little bit of kilos here and there. So that is an
That's a place
excellent
to go.
excursion to try and do that. Anything else before we look at the Nairobi?
Maybe a last one, because, hey, these 20 pages are just for the
There's
guys to
so
read.
much.
Those
There's
guys
so
are not
much.
watching Netflix or KTN, and everybody else should be reading past the all weekend. And the challenge about Play Kenya has been here with us. It's not over. Calligraph was supposed to go to a radio station this week. He didn't go because, again, all this. And Play Kenya, Paz just brings out the other side of it, of videos and songs. You know, you and I, and anybody out there may not really want to
Let me
play
just ask now that
and
you
all
brought that up, why didn't he show up? Or was that just his way of working? Because there's a video that did rounds last week which just left, you know, a lot to be
Mike, the
desired.
point is, you have been given a chance, you've been ranting and saying, play Kenya and I can give you a playlist of Kenyan music. And everybody, including these ones that we're talking about, page 15, which you won't play on TV anywhere on earth, brings all those videos, and the one justification of they're also Kenyan musicians to be played, you must have a very hard time deciding your playlist. And in my heart, I believe Calligraph must have found it very hard to come up with a playlist. He can vote me wrong, but I believe that it's very hard to come up with a playlist when everybody, I say including whatever is on page 15, which people need to read, is all there for you, Mike.
All there for you. All right. That's the Pulse, and there's a lot more other than what we've highlighted, so please do get yourself a copy of the Pulse. Now we move on to the Nairobian, and the headline,
our
Certain in the Suburb.
Certain in the suburbs. So it's, again, we are highlighting the terrorism that happened this week. And apparently the Times Tower was targeted. So please read that, get to know more stories that were not leaked during the attack. So get to know more about that. That is on the page 4, page 5 of the Nairobian. On page 13, get to know why Kenyans move out of houses at night.
I saw that one.
Why they move at night?
And they are
why
not
your neighbor
night
is
runners.
moving secretly.
And they're not night runners, because we do know there is a profession of night runners somewhere.
Yes.
Smithland.
Smithland. And they only appear at night.
Yes. On page 11, get to know about the luxury life of the city lawyer Abdul Nasir. This includes the kind of suit he wears, which he recently says it's worth 1.2 million.
You know what? As in, okay, there's
designer,
lanes and there's lanes.
Yes, the designer pen he uses, which ranges between 40,000 and 300,000. The kind of car which which is apparently bought worth over 20 million. So it's purely an upscale life. If celebrities say they're balling, now this is what
you call
looks
balling.
like.
And, well, of course, the question is, there's also Chris Kirubi. Yes. And I think this has been headlined as meet the most expensively dressed men in
Mike, you're not
Kenya.
in this list.
I'm wondering how I'm not in this list. Boyo, do you want to tell me how come I'm not in this list? Do you want to answer that question?
We can talk on the side, and then you can tell me...
Or is it because I'm black?
The what? Everyone in that page is black. On our main feature this week is why our divorces are very messy. We are taking a look at Jeff and Mackenzie Bezos. They recently announced their divorce, and it seemed very amicable as compared to the ongoing Linturi's mess happening, and also Akinyi and Chinedu. So get to read the features. If you want to divorce amicably, if that relationship is not working, page 22, 23 is for you.
All right, so please do get yourself a copy of the Nairobian and the Pulse for your entertainment this weekend. And remember, you can also make it a very active weekend by going to
Gong Hills.
Yeah, Gong
The
Hills.
challenge.
And Gong Hills challenge. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are you doing over the weekend apart from going to Gong Hills? Boyo, I'll start with you as we wind up.
I'm hooking up with friends for a birthday party.
It's a chilled out weekend, eh?
Yes.
Birthday party. Eh?
Yes.
But I know how some of those birthday parties
it's
go.
not chilled.
Is it for a child or is it for one of your
It's
friends?
an adult.
It's an adult.
Yes,
Okay,
so
then
it's not chilled.
say no more. I have an idea how that party is going to go. Stevens?
I'm ready to crash anyway. Now that I've done Gong Hills.
Please welcome. Welcome.
Well, Boyo is there and ready to host you in that
Yes.
birthday party, so you'll bring us details of what happens. Well, thank you very much, Stevens Mwendo and Boyo, for joining us this morning for Hot Topics. And that's where we wind up the show. It's now 17 minutes to 9, but we say goodbye and we'll leave you with a song from Tracy. And thank you very much for watching Morning Express from a very, very able and willing team that makes sure Morning Express happens every weekday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. We say thank you for watching. Have yourselves a great weekend. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless.